how's it going out there, everybody? Hope everybody's having a great day. It's time for Trucker News. Hashtag Trucker News. I am losing my voice a little bit, so bear with me. I'll try not to scream at the camera, which could be an improvement just in and of itself. If you guys don't know Trucker News, be sure to subscribe. Hit that like button. I am CashisKingtrucking. You get your stickers down in my merch tent if you'd like one. We're going to go through some news stories today. Senator introduces bill to lift burdensome entry-level driver training rule for small trucking companies. We're going to talk about the FMCSA to accept public comment from truck drivers on ELDs. Truck driver reported brake problems, bypass runaway route before fatal crash off a steep cliff in Wyoming. That's a bummer. $2.3 million worth of meth seized from truck at Texas border crossing. Whoa. Werner's going to buy 500 Cummins-powered, hydrogen-powered engines. The California Highway Patrol says a driver followed the old GPS routing into a dirt mountain road. Oof, does not look good for him. And finally, adult toys are spilt all over I-40 in Oklahoma following a big rig crash. So let's get to it. Senator introduces bill to lift burdensome entry-level driver training rule from small trucking companies. Is it me, or is every time the FMCSA come up with a rule, somebody needs a workaround? Somebody needs an exemption. It's like every time. So this week, U.S. Senator introduced legislation that would provide small motor carriers with regulatory relief from Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration regulations, as they often do. The Trucks Act would help small trucking companies, senators say. The trucking regulation unduly constricting known service provider Trucks Act was introduced by Senator Kevin Cramer, a Republican from North Dakota, and Mike Rounds, a Republican from South Dakota. According to September 15th news release from Cramer's office, the bill would work to reverse some requirements, the FMCSA entry-level driver training rule that went into effect in February 7th, 2022. Kramer called the rule burdensome, costly, and time-consuming, noting that ELD training classes range from 400 to 8,500 depending on the trainer, and can take anywhere from 3 days to 20 days to complete. I agree. I mean, isn't training just a big waste of time? You know, why should we train someone that's going to operate a truck, that weighs 80,000 pounds? Hell, I say don't even make them get a special license for it. Just give them the keys and tell them, hey, keep the shiny side up and the rubber side down. Am I right? That's all you got to do. Make sure they know how to work a CB. Say I ain't got no panties on, and audio. I don't know. I think if you want to play the game, you got to follow the rules. I don't know how, it's just the way it is. These small trucking companies, they want out of it because it's costing them money. And it's like, well, you got to pay to play. Next story we're going to talk about here, FMCSA to accept public comment from truck drivers on the ELDs. Yeah, I got a few things I'd like to tell them. Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration will accept public comments from the trucking community on electronic logging device regulations, hinting at possible upcoming changes to the rules that have been in place since 2017. According to the advanced notice of proposal rulemaking and request for comment, FMCSA is specifically interested in truckers providing comments on ways to improve the clarity of current regulations on the use of electronic logging devices, and address certain concerns about the technical specification raised by industry stakeholders. Comments are specifically asked to address 5 following specific areas in which the agency is considering making changes. And here's the places where they're considering making changes. Acceptability to pre-2000 engines. So maybe they're going to want to put e-logs on pre-2000 emissions. I'm not against that because I don't have a pre-2000s truck, so I don't care if they do that or not. These glider kits are getting outrageous. So I don't care if they do that or not. Addressing ELD malfunctions. Should the FMCSA amend carrier and driver responsibility and to clarify when a driver must switch to paper logs? I had to go on paper logs a while back. The little computer part of my ELD that hooks to the truck just would not turn on. I guess it short circuited or something. So I had to run paper for like 5 or 6 days. The process for removing ELD products from FMCSA list of certified devices. This to me just seems like a waste of time. That should be a no-brainer. If a business goes out of business, it should not be listed on the approved devices anymore. That's just common sense. Technical specifications. Should FMCSA consider allowing drivers rather than the motor carrier to change his or her ELD configuration to an exempt status to help reduce the administrative burden noted by the industry? Oh, I'm sure all the, Chicago land-based companies would love that one, because it's quite a hassle when you have to go in and reset a driver's logbook to give him fresh hours after he just got done driving 11 hours, right? It's such a hassle. He should be able to do that himself. No one would ever cheat that, I'm sure. ELD certification. Should FMCSA establish certification process for ELDs? If so, what should the certification process consist of? Okay, so they don't want to know nothing I got to say about it. But if you want to go over there and tell them what you think, there's a link there. I'm reading this off of CDL Life, so shouldn't be hard to find that. An update. Truck driver reported brake problems and bypassed runaway ramp before fatal crash off steep cliff in Wyoming. Wyoming Highway Patrol provided new information on a crash that claimed the life of a truck driver last month. An incident reported from Wyoming Highway Patrol confirms that Texas-based trucker Javier Cardozo Reyes, 47, contacted his company to report an issue with his brakes prior to a fatal single-vehicle crash on a stretch of mountain highway near Buffalo, known locally as Dead Man's Curve. Yeah, if your brakes aren't working right, don't go to Dead Man's Curve. I'm just maybe a thought. The report also stated that Cardoso Reyes drove past the runaway truck ramp and a runaway truck arrestor and a ramp. Okay. The crash occurred on August 17th, U.S. Highway 16 near mile marker 86, though through Moser Gulch into Buffalo. The Freightliner was traveling east on US 16 down Steep Mountain Pass, according to a statement by the company. The driver contacted them saying he was having difficulties with his brakes. The Freightliner traveled down the mountain pass, driving past the runaway truck catch net system, as well as a runaway truck ramp. Just after passing mile marker 86, the Freightliner began to enter a left-hand curve in the roadway. The driver was unable to maintain control of the vehicle and was traveling too fast to negotiate the corner. The combination exited the roadway to the right and began to roll onto its passenger side. The Freightliner struck the guardrail and went over it, causing the combination to drop off a very steep cliff. After impacting the ground at the bottom, the cab separated from the frame and the trailer also separated, sending a load of drill pipe scattered across the bottom of the canyon. The tractor frame caught fire and burned. Ugh. Oh man. So yeah, it's funny that, he called and reported brake problems, but then kept going. It's like, it's a tough one. It's a tough one, man. Sorry about that for that guy and his family. Here's the story. $2.3 million worth of meth seized from a truck at the Texas border crossing. Dang, man, they was trying to do it big. Trying to do it real big. U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers recently seized millions of dollars worth of illegal drugs from a truck arriving from Mexico into Texas. The drugs were discovered on September 9th, 2022 at the Farr International Bridge, cargo facility located in Farr, Texas. CBP officers referred a trailer entering the U.S. from Mexico for a secondary inspection. Using non-intrusive inspection system and a physical search of the vehicle, CBP found 66 pounds of alleged methamphetamine concealed in the trailer. The estimated street value of $2.3 million. The drugs, truck, and trailer were seized by the CBP. The case will be investigated by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Homeland Security. Yeah, they did it. They did it. It's a lot of meth. 66 pounds of meth. Werner's going to buy 500 hydrogen-powered Cummins engines. Anybody hear about that? Well, if you haven't, now you can. Werner Enterprises recently announced plans to purchase hundreds of hydrogen-powered engines from Cummins in an effort to reduce greenhouse gases. On September 7th, Werner announced that company leaders signed a letter of intent to purchase 500 Cummins 15-liter hydrogen internal combustion engines upon availability. At Werner, we're committed to a 55% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions by 2035 because we recognize the important role our sustainability efforts play, said Werner's chairman, president, and CEO Derek Leathers. Our customers are showing increased interest in more sustainable choices in the marketplace, and we see significant potential in utilizing Cummins fuel agnostic platform to continue the momentum toward reducing our carbon footprint. We are pleased to see the leadership of customers like Werner Enterprises who are exploring solutions like our fuel agnostic platform to help their own customers. The future will include many solutions to help customers decarbonize, and we believe hydrogen internal combustion engines will play an important role, said Brett Merritt, Vice President on Highway Engines Business of Cummins. All right, so 500 engines. They're not, that's not, I guess for a company the size of Werner, that is still a pretty good chunk of trucks, anytime you take a chance on something, man, doing it at a level of 500 is pretty big. I'm sure they're getting quite a deal on that, too, to be the guinea pigs, right? Earlier this year, Wormy, as I like to call them, Wormy and Cummins announced plans to validate and integrate Cummins 15-liter natural gas and Cummins X15H hydrogen engines, both part of Cummins fuel agnostic program, into the Werner fleet. Come on with it. So they're going to get some CNG and some hydrogens. Good luck, Wormy. The California Highway Patrol says the truck driver followed the old GPS onto a dirt road. California Highway Patrol took social media to share the story of a truck driver recent GPS fails. In a September 7th post, CHP Quincy Division called out a truck driver for not being aware of major road closures and then relying on his GPS to reroute. Oh, did I have to deal with that earlier this week. I had 2 miles from the place I was picking up. I had to take a 30-mile detour because there was an accident. 1 mile before the road I had to turn on that the customer was on. And Garmin did not do a good job with it. Garmin did a horrible job with it. I just stuck to state routes. Garmin tried to take me on a road that was made for trucks, no more than 10 tires. I'm close. I'm like 14. What's that worth? The driver said, whoops, a couple issues. The driver obviously doesn't follow Quincy or Caltrans District 2. He was turned around at the closure on State Route 70. He then went to the old GPS for help. Old Crumberg's Road is not a viable route to cross the Sierra Nevadas. Quincy Towing brought out the rig dog and got him straightened out, they said. Yeah, he was way up in a way he shouldn't have been. When you're in a way like that, man, you know something ain't right. Don't turn a semi onto a dirt road would be a good start. If it's dirt, you need to stop and figure something out. According to Caltrans, State Route 70 is closed to through traffic between Harbo, I think he said it, Harbo Gap and the Greenville for culvert replacement at Opapee Creek, west of Belden. State Route 70 is planned to reopen with 24/7 one-way traffic control at 7 a.m. on Tuesday, September 13th. There is no designated detour for this closure. You love that. Caltrans closes the road. What's the best way to go around it? I don't know. Figure it out. Just don't go up that mountain. Don't go up that mountain. All right, here we go. Now we're getting into a certain area here. I'm just saying. Adult toys spilled onto I-40 in Oklahoma following a big rig crash. Oh, Lord. I'm sure, I wonder if there was any lube involved. Did the hazmat crew have to come up and clean up the lube? Of course, I guess that lube is water-based, so would it really hurt anything? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of them on the road, I'm just saying. An unusual cargo spill was reported following a semi-truck rollover in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma on Wednesday morning. A crash involving a semi-truck and a box truck occurred at 8:45 on September 14th on eastbound I-40 at Mustang Road in Oklahoma City. They say no injuries were reported. The crash closed eastbound I-40 for 4 hours, in part because the spill of some questionable cargo from the truck. Ooh, sounds judgy. This article sounds very judgmental. The News 9 helicopter giving viewers a look at the crash zoomed in several times on the spilled cargo as the anchor tried to identify the items. Oh, I would have loved to have been watching that. What do you got there? It looks like, cut to commercial. Cut to commercial. That's giant. Those are giant. I can see them from here. News outlet Vice claims to have been able to identify the spilled items from the toppled truck based on the markings on the box as adult toys. The Oklahoma Highway Patrol did not immediately respond to Vice requests for comment on the contents of the spilled cargo. Yeah. Vice, the Vice News Network posted, "This is a semi that overturned and lost its load here." Trying to be funny? Leave that to me, Vice. All right, guys, that's the trucker news for the week. Diesel prices are going down, so let's all be thankful for that for the moment. And remember, take care of each other. Smash that like, that subscribe, all that things down there. Get into my comments. Leave me something down there. Get into the description. Click on all those links. And until later, remember, people are more important than trucking.